I wanted to say that the frogs are part of a movie. It was called The Emerald Forest. Very good movie. It's about a dam, a project that's being built in South America in the Amazon. And the father and his son, the father is the architect of the dam and a builder, who takes his son there in the area in the jungle near where they're building, and the son gets abducted by the Invisibles, which is the tribe that lives in the jungle, and they call themselves the Invisible People or the Real Ones, something like that. And Charlie is the name of the boy, and he goes to live and grows up with the tribe, and is then the scene shifts. The man, that is, in years, go ahead to the man seeking out his son and going on a journey into the jungle, where he eventually finds the son, and also is joined in the fight to save the jungle from the encroaching populations of local gangs and pirates and land destroyers and so forth and so on. And so there's all this adventure and so forth involved with saving the tribe and various vision quests that the boy went on, and that the father went on, where they're introduced by drugs, etc. And it's kind of cool, the whole story. But at the end, after they lose a lot of their tribe members, they try to figure out what to do. They have battles with the regular the people of the that I mentioned that live in the jungle also. But I mean, they're they have whorehouses and everything else going on. So the hero goes to the frogs are calling, or has this event happens where they call the frogs, and rain, and this great rainstorm, hurricane or whatever, comes and creates so much water that it breaks through the dam and destroys its usefulness. And that's the vision of the Emerald Forest with the frogs, which I noticed the frogs around here. And we had a great deal of rain at one time. We had very unusual weather all this last fall season. As the day I came back from Mexico, this very, very unusual and large hurricane, very, very fast-moving storm came. We left the area instead of staying here, and it's knocked down and destroyed almost all of the trees in the entire area. It crossed, and it came directly towards our house, or our area where we are, and it totally looks totally different. Very unusual. Not only that, it jumped all the way from here came from the Gulf of Mexico, where it came from, through here, and then jumped into Georgia and went up into North Carolina, which is 2 states away, and stopped there and completely took out at least three large towns in the mountains, among other areas, in almost a whole city. And I've heard that there's all kinds of waste from radiation and so forth. So this event is, what happened is that the water came down so much in one place, which is what these storms often do, that it took out all of the structure in the hills and the mountainside. There's small mountains, but the hillsides crashed in on the water and came down. All of the trees and silt and everything was pushed down by the water and came down into the gulches and into the river, and that's what flooded out entire towns. Okay, so the funny thing about it is that I'm here in this area, seeing this as a relationship which has to do with the fact that the election that was here in the United States and what's happened was an election that has evidently been bought by the money people. Evidently, it's obvious. Follow the money and you can see where everything's happening and what's going on. So that's all that related to the money part that was described, and that's what we're experiencing, all nonsense, but everyone thinks it's real or has to deal with it at some level, and that's where we're coming into, that we are in the positions of being aware of this and communicating this, kind of crisis of apocalyptic ideas, which they are, these monopolies and whatever other kinds of economic or positional references that are, and ideas that are being accepted or dominating, the ideas that they use to dominate, or that they are dominating usefulness of that idea, which is being forcibly accepted or manipulated. Okay, so yeah, that's it. That's that story. So I only relate one more thing about my own place, is that I've noticed, not where I live, I don't mean that, I meant that my position related to it is, I've discovered that there are some viable, let's say, ideas or alternative viewpoints, not that they're better or that they're greater or they're right and the others are wrong, but that they are dealing with how to deal with the natural environment and become, let's say, more stewards, sharing what we have or where we are. And as an example, an oasis area in Mexico that we had sort of discovered, where DUANE is, and etc. But also in New York, there is a city that is being somewhat transformed into decentralized community, self-sufficient, non-dependent, and interconnected in that they're actually creating forms of money. They're taking care of a health needs for those who can or cannot pay for it, that type of thing. They're also using all the agriculture and teaching people or having set up some form of education for farming and becoming energetic and preserving of land and air, water, etc., and so forth. So this is very interesting that it's a model, but not necessarily the model of showing something that would be value to anyone, anywhere, any group, where they're not going to be using the government operation. It doesn't mean it's against the government operation. It functions, so it can function without that or within it, let's say, maybe. And that's a question, you see, because this is the same thing where we have this, what do you call it, a war of consciousness? And that consciousness, it could be a civil war where the two bodies are competing with each other. The ones who would like to have an inclusive, natural, coordinated system, as opposed to those who would like to have the control of the financial, and it's a centralized model that means, God is number one, and if you're not following God, then you're out. And we're going to take away all of your goods and value of life, or not, or claim that they're actually supporting that value of life. So this is what's going on this year